Welcome back everyone to the channel. In today's session, we'll learn how to create site pages automatically via Power Automate. So think about a scenario where you want to create your site pages automatically whenever some list item gets submitted in a SharePoint list. For example, let's say one HR or HR team is managing one of the employee list where they are just creating the employee details, and based on those details one profile page gets created for that employee. Or consider a scenario where project manager or PMO is just entering some data in a SharePoint list for the project details, and one project detail, one site page gets provisioned related to that project detail. So these are pretty much a standard scenario. There could be many more. In short, like today we'll learn how we can create the site pages automatically with some SharePoint list item data. So as you can see, I've just opened one slide which is having few steps to create it, because it's not something which is straightforward. There are a few steps involved. So we'll just go one by one on all these steps. So first step is to create a template with placeholders in a site page library. So I'll just navigate to my site pages, and I will create one site page which I will be using to consider that as a template. So let me name that as let's say employee template. I'm just removing my name and adding one web part which is having fields like name and placeholder for that employee name. So why I would like to keep the placeholders, because in my Power Automate or MS Flow I will be replacing all these values with the actual values from a SharePoint list. And let's say employee code. Alright, so this is just text web part, so I can have split that in two sections and can have one image web part too. Right now for time being I can select any of the image, but via my Power Automate I'll be replacing this image with the attached item image. So I mean, whenever HR is creating one record for employee, he'll be attaching the display image for that employee, and that image will start appearing over on this page. So you can just click publish, though we want to add it again so that we can capture the payload of this entire page. So I'll just navigate to my slide again. So in next step you can see create a sample page or publish it, so you and copy the save page function. So you can simply rather than going to a new page, first of all just save this as template so that we can use this one. Save as template. I'm just passing the template name as employee template. Save page template. So we are all done. So let's edit it again so that we can capture the save page action, and that's a bit tricky part, how to capture that. So I need to edit the page again, or I can just leave this page as is, create a new page from my library, so that it could be simpler rather than making confusions whether we should edit the same page or create a new page from template. So I'm just going to home page. I need that pop-up where I can select the template, so I'm selecting this employee template and creating a page. I'm just naming it as test sample page, and I'm just the tricky part is just do a F12 so that you can able to capture the save page action. So make sure that you have selected your network tab, okay, and because we are capturing the save page, so rather than like finding the action over here, we can just simply search in this box. So I'm just clicking publish. Now I'll go for the save page action. So in the save page action, you can see I got one path. I clicked on it. You just open that. Now you can see in header we have the entire request URL and the response header along with the page load body. So I'm just scrolling down. Yes, so this payload, you can just click on view source so that you can able to copy the entire stuff. Just copy it, and possibly you may want to paste that in Visual Studio file. So I'm just, so that you can just do a sorting on it. So I'm just saving that as JSON. Alright, so I'm now formatting this, so it's formatted for me now. So now I have my JSON as formatted. So if you're getting any other request header and all that stuff, just get rid of that, because we'll be just would be using this metadata, which is coming metadata, layout, web parts, and the banner image URL, canvas content. So basically the content which is inside those web parts. So go back to your page. You can just close that out. And now I'll showcase like what list from where we will be provisioning it, the item. So I'll just get rid of this test data which is already there. Alright, so this list is having employee name, job title, employee code. So whenever some item, HR would add some item to this list, then one page gets provisioned automatically using our Power Automate. So this is having these columns. So let's go to flow now. So I'll start creating from instant. Create pages automatically, or create employee profile. So I'm just choosing within that flow, and when item is created, so I'll just go back to my steps. So you can see create a sample page and publish it. We have done that. Publish page, copy payload in notepad file or visual code file. We have done that. Create a flow. Now we have created a flow. Now it's time to add some actions to it. So I'm just selecting my site on which I'm triggering this. List name is employee list. In next step, we'll be shooting out one HTTP request. So I'll send an HTTP request to SharePoint, and we are going to use some REST URLs to make that happen with a post query, so that the pages can be created with the specific template. So instead of method get, I'm changing that to post. Site address, the same site. URI, so I am just circling back to my steps. So in URI I have already pasted it. You can construct it as well for your site. So it's saying get file by server relative URL, and the URL is for the template file. So for us it's employee template.aspx, and we will copy that page to a new page, and what that page name would be is the title of my employee list. So let me just quickly paste that out in under expression, or I can just paste that out, copy. Oops, I am unable to paste that out, so no worries, I can just type that in. API web get So now I have pasted that. So you can see this site page title is coming from my this employee list. So the item, the title item would be over here. So with that name, it will create that page. So in the headers, you can simply paste the accept response with verbose. Okay, so we have created the headers, content and the accept. Now in body, we'll not touch the body over here. It will just copy that template page out, template page to a new page out. So in the second step, we need to get the file identifier, which is created in step second. So get item identifier. Get file identifier. Yep, so get file metadata. Yes, so this one we are going to use. So we want to fetch out the item ID of the page which created in previous step, and in the file identifier we'll be passing the exact URL. So I'll just copy the URL, I mean the site page, and why I'm copying is you should be take care of this as well. Instead of putting slash, we need to put the special character out, because this gets the identifier. If you're putting slash, then identifier would not able to resolve it as a proper file path. So you can just paste that out. You can see site pages slash trigger body and title. So what this is nothing but the title of the item. So you can totally replace this, and I'm just replacing this entire, deleting it and selecting from the dynamic expression as title. So now we have provided the file identifier for it. So till now we are done with 3 steps: creating the file from page from the template, getting the file metadata. Now again we'll be using send HTTP request, because we are going to check out that page. It's again on my same site. Type is post, and the URI I'll be pasting from my slide, and what that URI would do is check out that file which is created in step second. So I'm just copying entire stuff and pasting that out. So I have pasted it. Now in under the pages function, I need to pass the item ID which I got from file metadata action in my previous step. So I'm selecting that item ID. In the headers, I'll be again pasting out the same stuff which we did in step 2. I'm just copying the content type rather than typing again. Alright, so we are done with checking out that page. Now in second page, the third HTTP request, what we are going to do is that we are going to save the page or publish that out. So I'm just circling back to my PPTs so that we can be assured that we are following the right path. So in step, we are under step 7, where we are making call to save the page as draft, and post that we'll be pasting the response which we actually copied initially as in payload in our VS Code file. So we'll paste that out and replace our placeholder. So right now with step 7 we are doing that, save page as draft. So I'm copying this entire URL, and now just setting this up in my this HTTP third request. Again the method is post URI, I'll be copying it. So now for the pages, again I would select the item identifier from get file metadata, and again would select my headers from the previous steps. Alright, so now the final step which came in. Now in this time in the body we need to pass the entire JSON which we copied in previous steps. So you can see you can copy the entire stuff and paste that out. And I'm just scrolling down to our placeholders which we created initially. So you can see in the name, the employee name placeholder we created so that we can identify it easily. So I'm just removing that. Why? Because I'll be choosing that from dynamic content and I'll be typing that as title. So when item is created, the title of that the item would be considered as employee name, so it gets replaced in front of my name caption. So same thing I'll do for job title. I'll just remove that out and select that from a dynamic expression, job title. And the same thing for employee code. Alright, so now I have all my fields replaced, and now it comes to the this thing, images thing. So under images you can see image source. So you can use replace the entire static string with your profile image column, which I have in my employee list. I can show you that I have profile image column, and this image column is of type hyperlink and picture. So you can just set that out, and this link would be used instead of that static image, static URL. So I'm replacing this entire stuff, the static image with my profile image. Profile image. Okay, so we have replaced it. Now in the same JSON you can see there is field custom data where it's specifying the image source. So please make sure that you remove entire this stuff, otherwise it will keep on taking your template image URL, because it's having list ID, unique ID, which is of that file which we actually used while creating this template. So simply what you can do, you can just make this custom metadata property entirely empty. You can just get rid of all the stuff which is there. So you may want to keep the width and height of the image so that it can be shown properly rather than stretching up, but for the demo I'm just removing that out too. So this entire stuff is being removed. You can now save the flow. So in short, what we did is we created, when item is created, we are sending out one request which can clone out that site page from the template. We are fetching out the file metadata. We are again sending one REST call to create that page, new page, and then the last one, final one, we are setting out we are setting the page payload which we got from our initial steps. So now I'm going back to my flow, and I'll just create one item in employee list to test this out entire stuff. So now I am going to create one employee item. So let's say Mark Chris, and title is senior manager, employee code 455, anything, manager Alex. So profile image. So in this I'm going to paste that image which I have stored in my document library. So you can see for testing I'm going to use out this image. This under my SPFX site shared documents. So I'll just copy the entire URL and save it. So ideally my flow should trigger and I should get one new page entry. So it did trigger. So let's see if I got my page created or not. So I just refreshed it. Okay, so now we can see one page is created with our title which was there under our employee list. So if I just open this out, okay, so it does have the details. You can see name is same, Mark Chris, top title senior manager, employee code, and the profile image as well. So this is how this new page got created, but you can see that title is still coming sample page because the page layout which we copied. So let me just re-edit it. I'll show you why that is so, because we must did not replace the template page name. Okay, yes, so title is still coming as test sample page, so you can replace that out with your actual title from the dynamic content. You can just type title. Okay, so now it will take the name of your page as the new page, whatever you would be creating the item from. So I'll just quickly revalidate that, creating a new one. So let's say Harry, this is developer, employee code, manager Chris, and the image, let me paste the same one rather than uploading a new one. So just saving that out, and I'll just see if my flow did run or not. So it did not. Still, so it may take a while, like 1 to 2 minutes. So it did run. Now I'll just go to my site pages. So this new employee item gets created, one page is also gets created, it's corresponding to it. So now you can see the page has started taking the title of that list, and the all other fields are which we were provisioning, so all gets properly populated under this page. So overall we are able to create one site pages corresponding to our list item created. So this could be very useful scenario, as I said, for provisioning project request or even creating site requests. Like if you would like to keep the item in a SharePoint site and corresponding to that site, we would like to create the pages that should track like what site is being used to what, who is the owner of the site, and one page gets created for that list item. So though like it involves like couple of send HTTP request, a cumbersome process but a fruitful one, because it will cut out the most of the manual stuff for creating pages. So I hope you like my video. If you do like, then please drop in comment box, and also if you have any queries, then write to me. Thank you.